You are familiar to the other audience also. That's why. And since nowadays Malayalam films are being watched by other
Yes.
people as well. So hopefully, and I think Pada would have reached to such audience anyway. So Pada, your character is distinct. Naturally, there is a kind of attraction and that stands out. And of course, your performance and the direction all put together.
Please don't do it.
Coming to Dear Friend, it's like you're part of all five friends together, and each of them is kind of a show stealers. So how do you look at these two opportunities?
They are very starkly different films in terms of how we shot it and in terms of my role also. In Pada, I was still with four very senior actors. I mean, here also everyone is much senior than me, but I think because this film was based on a friendship, around friendship as a topic, I think we bonded well very soon. It gave the scope for, friendship outside of the film set. Whereas in Pada, I was very new with four very senior actors. The film is very serious. The scenes are very different. So the dynamics on the set were much different.
Why I'm saying is your screen presence, that's remarkable, that's memorable. So it's not that easy. I think when each of them is like as I said, show stealers, as in because they are established in their way, like Basil and all. Looking at him, people will start. That was the experience in the movie hall, as in people will start kind of smiling, then kind of laughter. So that way, everyone is distinct. So how was it working together and establish that as a remarkable experience?
I think what was surprising was the ease with which we worked. Because there is Basil, who's also a director. There's Toby, who's a star. There is Darshana, who's also a star. There's Arjunlal, who's coming after a long time. The writers have a lot of experience. Vignesh Kumar, Shreelancer, Samit. So they're all very big names. So with all such people in a film set, I think it was just the working of it became much easier than what one would imagine. How quickly we got into a group. Especially because all of them were already part of the project for many years. They've been part of it through pre-production 2-3 years before the pandemic. I joined 1 week before the shoot started. So yeah, I thought it was quite easy to gel in.
Have you been acting in your school, college days, and then it was not like that?
In school, I did a few plays. When they make you do these annual day functions, like that. But theatre, I never pursued till I took the decision to become an actor when I quit my job. Because then everyone says, you should do theatre to be an actor. So that's how I got into theatre. Otherwise, I had no background or no inclination. Because also I grew up in Pune, where Marathi theatre is very strong. Although I speak Marathi, but it's not good enough to be, part of a Marathi theatre circuit. So I never did any plays in college or anything. It's just that after I applied for my FTI exams, I realized that, you need to have some sort of training to be an actor. And that's how I got started doing theatre.
Pada feedback was like, everyone really appreciated the film and your role. So then was it from Pada you took, you got this opportunity for Dear Friend?
Technically, yes, because Samir Tair was the cinematographer of Pada. So I had randomly met him in Mumbai. I've been in touch with him. So he said, listen, I'm producing this film. Why don't you give an audition to Vignesh Kumar for this? So we're looking for these kind of actors. And that time, I was shooting for Rocket Boys, but it was also the pandemic. So there was some delay with that production. So luckily I had like this month off, and then so it all fell in place that way.
How was it working with Vignesh Kumar as a director?
This was a very collaborative set, because you had Samir Tair on set every day. You had Sharfu Suhas on set every day. The writers and the producers. So which I've not experienced before. So it was a very collaborative set. At some point, also because I was new, and then there's a lot of feedback that comes. But in between all of that, I think after the first few days, I think what was interesting was the kind of language that Vineet found for me in terms of communication. I think the way he directed me. I think it's also how an actor and a director finds their groove, right? Also, like I said, I was not part of this film for months before or something. I just came in a week before. So for a director to find that groove with his actor, I think that requires time. So I think Vineet sort of found a very interesting way of directing me. Every director tries to find a sort of a comfortable zone for the actor also. Because also he's not seen any of my work. Nobody's had seen any of my work, because when I was doing Dear Friend, nothing had come out. No Rocket Boys or no Jhund or anything. So nobody knows anything. No prior experience also. So that can always be a challenge. But yeah, he gave that space and that freedom to perform.
Working with Amitabh Bachchan is something like working with a legend. So how was that experience?
Great experience. That was an emotional experience also, because again, I got that film in 2017 when Shreelancer had just released. But that film took 1.5 years to start, then another 5 years, 3 years to release. So that was a very emotional journey, because it's your second film and you're getting a chance to act with Mr. Bachchan, somebody that you've grown up watching. Like he's a cultural icon. So suddenly you're in front of him on a film set, feels very surreal. But also so much to learn from the fact that you see him on set and you know why they've been around for so long. I'm sure it's the same with all the other superstars, where if you survived in an industry for 50, 60 years, there must be something in your way of working that's made you sustain for so long. Like his discipline, like his just the way he is the way he conducts himself on a set. The fact that you can love your work so much even after doing it for 50 years, so many films. So that was quite an experience.
ये फुटबॉल बहुत अच्छा खेलते हैं।
ये पूरे बच्चे झोपड़पट्टी के हैं।
जी सर।
ये लोग फुटबॉल का नाम बदनाम कर रहे हैं।
I think what's so important on a film set is how easy you are for the production to function, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of money at stake. And just the way he would just land up there on time 5 minutes before every shot. He doesn't leave the set. Those are all, I don't know how much of it can we all do, but to see somebody who's 80 years old to be able to do it, then you have no excuse. I don't know if you've seen Jhund, but there is a sequence where he's come to train the kids in football. And Nagaraj said, okay, you come tomorrow morning, we'll take some basic shots of you with the kids and all. And Mr. Bachchan lands up. You've seen, I don't know if you've seen footballers training, but they have those cones. So he brought cones along and he put it there. And we were all like wondering, what is he going to do? So he said, "Nee, sir, I went and saw these videos of footballers training, and I think we should keep these cones and make these kids run around and throw the ball and do headers." So everyone was surprised that he's come so prepared for something which is not even like a montage of a show.
If you suggest people to watch Dear Friend, what could be the reasons that one should go and watch Dear Friend?
Because it's a film on friendship, and it's got 3 stars in there, and it's a film on friendship, and there has been, people think it's a Bangalore Days or something. It's not that, because whoever has seen the film, you know that it's a different take on. It's a different, not a different take, but a different way of looking at relationships between people. It's a very specific incident that happened between these friends that we are showing. So every friendship film is about, how do you celebrate going on trips and, parties or love between friends. This is very different from all of that. It's about a group of friends who were just leading their life and something between them happens. And what happens to their life when this incident takes place. That's also what friendship is. No? So it's that kind of a film. But yeah, please watch Dear Friend. There is something in it for everybody. It's, thankfully, the reviews from the critics have been good.
The thing is, as you said, there is celebration, and you get the initial scenes and all. Until the first half, it's a lot of energizing visuals and the kind of fun. It's quite and the kind of collaboration between these these members who are living in or who is using this particular area in house. So that's a great atmosphere. Further, there is a lot of psychological elements, investigation. So industry stress and as you said, rightly, the people living in a certain and collaborating in every aspect. But there are aspects that we do not know. Even friends or even families living for a married couple.
Yeah,
living
that's a
50
very
years.
good example actually. You can be living in the same house with your father, mother, brother, sister, husband, wife, and you might still not know something about them. How many of us, I'm sure every family has a story that they've discovered at some point without really getting logical answers to it. So yeah, that's a very good point. Something similar.
Could you mention, like, there is a particular decision that one makes, to stop or to pause what they are doing in a career and, to learn something that they dream about?
Pausing of a career was not much of a thing for me because I passed out of college, I got a job, and like everybody else, we all went for that job. It was not like I worked for 10 years and then I had to make that decision. But yeah, I had to make that decision also in a city like Pune, which is, although it's very close to Mumbai, it's not a film city, or it's not a, there is arts and culture and all of those things, but it's not like a Bangalore, or it's not like a Delhi, or it's not like a Chennai. So you quit your job and then do what? Like, yeah, you want to become an actor. Yes, we all want to become an actor, but then when I and while I was working, so I never went to FTI. I only acted in a lot of student films. Yeah. So I gave my FTI exams twice. I didn't get through. So I quit my job and then I went to Mumbai and I realized, here there are 10,000 people coming every day to become an actor. So how does one find their way? And I realized that you can't be so unprepared. I had no knowledge or anything. I just had a dream that watching films, I want to be in films. But I don't think that's enough to, really seriously pursue something. And also I knew that if I really wanted this, then I had to quit everything to pursue. But that was also my naivety or, that I realized, I thought that, I'll quit my job in 2 years, I'll get how much of a struggle can it be? 2 years, I'll go give some 500 auditions, I might get some film. That 2 years just went on for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. So, yeah. And also, along that journey, you will also find answers as to why you want to do this. Because you can, in all your passion and josh, you can just quit everything and, pursue something. It can be pursuing a career in films, it can be opening a cafe, it can be anything. But through the whole challenges and struggles, you will start questioning yourself, do I really want to do this? Do I really need to do this? And those answers will be clear. And whatever those answers are is what helps you make that decision whether I should really pursue this. Is this really a pipe dream, or do I think that I can make it somewhere?
Perseverance, all through this 6, 7, 8 years. So
6, 7, 8 years, I finally started getting work. Then came the other challenge that the work was not coming. So I could tell people that I'm working with an Athra. I could tell people that I'm working in a film like Falah. But so what? It's not come out. Nobody's seen it. So that was another mentally challenging phase where you're just sitting, you're not having any work, little work that you have, you've already done, you're waiting for it to come out. So, yeah, it's all, every stage has different challenges.
It's again a learning, and I think this could be inspiring for others as well who are looking for not just actors, especially creative side, because it doesn't come, and this recognition, as you rightly said, like you have done this work, but where is it? How can I see that? And
yeah. Also, I think again, when I first quit my job and tried to become an actor in 2011, there was no social media, there was no OTT platforms. But because of then, now there are so many avenues for somebody to showcase their talent. Otherwise, you could only go and give your pictures to a casting office, give your introduction on camera. That's all that you could. Today, you can make things, you can put out things which is accessible. So, but that I'm sure that also comes in with a lot of its own challenges that you have to cut across. You have to cut through to all the kind of content that's there. So yeah, there is pluses and minuses for everything.
But you stand distinct when you get to be molded by people like experts like Kamal and
I've been that way. So that way I've been very, very lucky that in the beginning of my career, that my first film, Shreelancer, Sandeep Mohan, I think he's a true indie filmmaker in India today. The way he conducts himself and the way he follows his dreams of making films. Then I had Kamal, Nagraj, Samir Tayyar, Shaiju Khalid. These kind of people to be associated with in your first few films. I think it's I'm very fortunate.
And what are the other interests other than acting?
Photography has been of interest. So but photography, as in I just put them on Instagram. I don't have anything else. But that's I used to paint as a kid, but I somehow lost that skill. But I love photography a lot. Apart from that, I don't think I pursue anything.
Well, I think it's all about practice. Like you were drawing, painting, and even photography. Anything that practices consistently, persistently do that. And
yeah, I can say for a lot of us is that since the invention of Instagram and Facebook, I think all our reading habits have gone for a toss. But I was reading this book called The Grapes of Wrath.
Yeah. So what inspired you to read that book? As in, is there anything?
And the reason I'm reading Grapes of Wrath is because the current film that I'm working on, I just try to read something, keep myself occupied. So I just decided to read it while I'm working. Like during Pada, I was reading this book called this essays of Arundhati Roy, which is called The Grasshoppers of Listening to Grasshoppers by Arundhati Roy. I was reading that during Pada because it spoke of people's movements and agitations. So just keep yourself occupied with something that's with the world of the film, right? You're working with. Then I'm very fascinated by the story. I picked up this book, which has been on my reading list for a long time. One of my favorite sports persons was this tennis player called Andre Agassi while growing up. And that's a very famous book of his called Open. So one of those best-selling autobiographies. So that's the other book that But like I said, a book that should have taken 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month to finish takes 4 and 5 and 6 months.
So I would like to know about the future projects.
So right now I'm working on a film called Ullu, which is being directed by this director called Christo Tommy.
Who is the director? It was not quite clear, I think.
Being directed by Christo Tommy, and my co-actors are Parvati and Urvashi. So we just started shooting for this last month.
What about the
second season of Rocket Boys is ending, so I think we have 10 or 15 days of shoot because we shot both the seasons parallelly. We have 10-15 days ending. I don't know when that will happen. So, yeah.
I was about to ask on pan-Indian subjects, as in projects, basically, not the subject. So because that's something and I think nowadays there are many technicians who move out of this space of Kerala, not just confined to this space, and moving out and getting opportunities and doing wonders. So I hope such opportunities are waiting for you. All the best.
I hope to get more opportunities like that. So it's been a nice set of films to enter Malayalam films with. And you grow up watching these films, especially as a kid when parents are watching these films, but also in the last 7-8 years, this whole new phase of Malayalam cinema. And everybody is like amazed at how these kind of stories are being made. And I'd really like to be a part of them. So yeah, it's nice that I'm working on one more film. So let's see how I'm just taking it one film at a time.
What is your perception on Malayalam films?
Films that I've worked on, or on the films that I've seen?
In general, and of course, films you have worked on.
In general, the thing is that it's the kind of storytelling that happens in Malayalam films. You don't see that anywhere else. But this is something I don't know if I'm reading this correctly. But I think Malayalam films are, if you've seen even Mr. Nagaraj Manjule's films, I think they're all trying to cater to. They're not catering to a larger audience. And I feel like when you're telling your story the way you want it, for a kind of audience, I think the film becomes that much more universal. Because then people connect with it. Human beings are human beings anywhere, any part of the world. But because it's also a business, I think Hindi films also need to reach out to a larger audience. They have to reach out to somebody sitting in Rajasthan to UP and then to the South, because it's a widely spoken language, because the budgets are so big, and the accessibility is so much more. I think they need to reach out to a larger audience. But that's just my reading. I could be wrong.
विजय, ये सब करके आप क्या साबित करना चाहते हो?
So, I mean, you can easily make a comparison. There are so many remakes that are made. But you see that what happens to those remakes when they're remaking it. There's a certain essence of it. I remember I had asked Nagraj. He had made Fantry. After Fantry, he made Sairat. I don't know if you've seen both those films, but if they are so different in scale. And, he had told me that, I wanted to reach a larger audience with my story. And his films have politics in it. And he wants to tell that politics and his story in the language that an audience would like to take it. And that's why he made Sairat the way it is. I mean, it's the first film to make 100 crores. First Marathi film to make 100 crores. Again, it's a local story. It's a local, the treatment of it is commercial. The story, it's about a boy and a girl in love. Those things are there. But with the universal subject, he's made it as local as it can. That's why it had the impact that it did. So, I mean, what if he was trying to reach out to every corner of this country or every corner of this world? Would that film be what it is?
मी स्वयंपाक करीन. मी लाकूड तोडून आणेन. मी दारात उभा राहून तुझी वाट बघेन.
When you were saying take that log to story, what you have to say in the right way to the audience. You don't have to go across the country searching for what they like.
No, I'm also, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. But also, like I said, it's a business. So the person who's putting in the money reads the market very differently. I can sit here, it's not my money which is being put in a film. But I'm just saying that that's the advantage of a Malayalam film or a Marathi film. That this ability to keep it for a specific audience. And by virtue of that, it reaches out to a larger audience.
Bangalore police.
The fact that we've made a different, everyone tries to say that what they're making is different. We'd like to believe that too, that we have made something different in terms of even the storytelling language. And like I said, every film need not reach out to every kind of audience. And this is not that film. This film is speaking about friendship and something that happens between friends in a particular way and in a shade that you've not seen before. That's also there. So I think just to experience that, you should go and watch Dear Friend. It's different in many aspects. It's I think both Vineet and the writers and Shaiju Khalid and Samita have made sure that they told the story in a very they've tried to break a few rules or traditional rules. So it's a new attempt at telling a story, and it's a new shade on something that we've not seen before when it comes to films on friendship. So for that, I would wish that people took out their time and went and gave it a watch.
വിനോദ് എന്തിനായിരിക്കും അവന് പൈസ കൊടുത്തത്? എന്തെങ്കിലും മറച്ചു വെക്കാനായിരിക്കും അല്ലേ?
Thank you so much for your time, and wish you a lot of wonderful opportunities. And given an opportunity, everyone knows that you will prove it. So all the best, Arjun.
Thanks, Ashish. Bye-bye.